Hey everyone, this is Malcolm Gilvar, Vice President of Sales with the Trade Group, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Trade Show Quick Tips. Today I'll be sharing with you a few tips to ensure a smooth exhibit installation. Often when we plan for a trade show, we get caught up in the fun stuff, the design of the exhibit, creating marketing materials, or the must-dos like booking an airline ticket or the hotel rooms. But often we forget to prepare for the all-important day or days of exhibit setup that's to come. Here are a few tips to ensure that your next exhibit installation goes as well as possible. First, complete all your service forms on time. Pay close attention to those due dates, guys. Most forms also have early bird deadlines that allow you to save a lot of money if you can do that early. But each service's date will vary, so watch them closely. Also, if you require outside labor to install your exhibit, be sure you use the Exhibitor Appointed Contractor form. It's also called the EAC. And make sure it's completed by the deadline, which is usually about 90 days out. Now, we could do a whole 5 minutes on just exhibit shipping, but the most important thing to remember about shipping is if you're coordinating your own shipping, be sure to use a provider that has experience delivering to trade shows. There are lots of rules and regulations and delivery restrictions, to consider. So be sure your shipping partner knows all these details, or you may pay for their inexperience. Also, be aware of any union labor rules. You may think, oh, I've got a pop-up, I can walk right into the show and set up in a few minutes. Well, this could be the case, but in most instances, certain states' union rules will limit what you can be carried onto the floor and set up by an exhibitor. That also goes for plugging in lights and AV as well. So check your show book for details on what you can and can't do. Also, pay particular attention to targeted move-in times. Often larger shows will tell you can begin moving your exhibit freight onto the show floor. These rules, though, they're strictly enforced. If you require an early move-in time or date, check with your show for special permission. It's not guaranteed, but most of these guys will try to accommodate you in some way. It's also important to bring your paperwork with you. And by with you, I mean on the plane with you, not in your checked bag and not sent to your hotel. I've seen too many exhibitors with their hands tied because they didn't have the proper forms or documents with them, which held up the exhibit installation. Also, bring copies of all your show forms. You never know when you're going to need to reference them or need proof of them being submitted. Your setup instructions too, guys. Be sure that your exhibit provider not only includes setup instructions that you can carry with you and that are in the exhibit itself, but also make sure you get a set to the I&D or labor team as well. In addition, bring a copy of your electrical layout. Electrical is usually laid out prior to the exhibit even arriving in your booth. So if the electrical layout is in your crates, it really is not going to do you a lot of good. You won't know until it's way too late to make a change. So please have that electrical layout and make sure it's correct when you give it to your I&D team. Also, have a copy of your exhibit orientation if one's needed. Mostly, this is for island exhibits. The booth orientation is what direction the exhibit is supposed to be facing. For example, you may want your reception counter to face that busy aisle, not a back wall or a bathroom. The orientation paperwork will show the surrounding booth numbers so that your I&D team will know which direction to install the exhibit. Really important. Also, consider hiring labor supervision. Often, if your exhibit house coordinates your installation and dismantle labor, the hired crew may not have an intimate knowledge of your specific exhibit. So also consider hiring an exhibit supervisor from your exhibit house. These are the same guys who set your exhibit up prior to it going to the show, so they know all the ins and outs of that exhibit. And this can ultimately save you money and certainly avoid any costly confusion that could exist on the show floor. Finally, communicate with your exhibit house to help you coordinate these details. Most houses such as ours will even complete your forms, facilitate shipping and delivery, as well as fully coordinate your I&D. By following these easy tips and preparing for your installation ahead of time, you can be sure the exhibit build will go smoothly as possible, allowing you to focus what's most important, getting those leads. For more great exhibiting tips, visit www.tradegroup.com. Thanks for listening.